Didn't have to say go, because you understood what I meant.
Mm-hmm. So just let me know when we're live, because I got shit to do, and.
Well, I've been live for 16, 17, 18. Does that help?
I've been alive for 46 years, but I mean, I don't know. Oh, you mean? Hi guys. Uh,
A lack of planning and thought equals the best comedy.
Hi guys. We're back.
Evening, afternoon, good night, depending where you are. Pen
And
pals.
it's like you all are our pen pals, because when you come to these chats, you're right in the chat window. We write back. We talk to you guys.
Mm-hmm.
You're our pen pals. You guys are awesome. So thank you. Welcome.
And
back.
sometimes there's atmospheric disturbances and the stream goes down because of volcanic activity, and sometimes it doesn't.
Right?
Stuff just happens.
Yes. So how are you today, Samuel?
I'm okay. Did some family stuff, which obviously takes a bit of time. I made an edit of one of the comic things we did, which was good. That'd be a fun one. Looking forward to filming again. I did some more renders of some more classic Enterprise ships that we can do at some point. Kind of add more to the bucket list of things to do, and some interesting ones that I've only opened once, and just make the original archive render. So it's like, oh, this is interesting, sort of thing. But you try not to look too hard, because otherwise it defeats the purpose of taking a look with you.
Right.
How are you today?
We'll talk about those. I'm pretty good. On the upswing as far as mood goes today. Did a few things more accomplished at home than I normally would have. So I'm happy about that.
Yeah,
and
helps a ton, doesn't it? Just a sense of doing something.
Yeah. Well, I need the motivation to do it first. So today's been the first day where I've kind of felt like it. So.
Yeah.
That being said, guys, expect a captain's log on Friday. I know, they're back.
Back with full force?
Hopefully. We'll see.
Semi-force. At least you can get a semi for us, right?
Yes, and I'll be very forceful with it. That was really bad. All right, guys. How you doing? Welcome back. And we're going to be talking about pen pals today, as we've kind of hinted at.
Hinted?
Or blatantly said.
Yes!
Anytime.
I'm going to share.
The title, the thumbnail.
I'm going to share.
Our piss poor jokes.
You keep with the dad jokes, I'm going to share.
Right. It's my job. So, guys, you know the drill. By all means, hit the like button, and don't forget to send us super chats if you want to hear your voice, have your voice heard, your question read, your comment answered. You know that was the backwards. The comment read, the question answered. Yeah. Helps out the channel immensely, as does clicking the links down below. I recently just talked to our Eagle Moss representative, and we've had 129 people use the discount code Trekyards at Eagle Moss. However, only one of them clicked the link in the description to get there. So only one of those 129 uses of the discount code has actually supplied us with any kind of revenue or percentage from the purchase. So you got to click the link down below in the Eagle Moss to get to the site, because then they associate the link from our channel to the discount code, and we get it's weird. I thought it was just the discount code. Anyway, I say that in every Eagle Moss video. So by all means, click the link down below. Click the link down below for Eagle Moss if you want to get Eagle Moss and save some money. You can save 15% of orders of $50 or more, which is a good deal. So by all means, go do that. Other ways to help the channel is Patreon, of course, or just sending a PayPal link, and all that stuff is down in the description of every video. So check them out, and hopefully we can, you guys can help us out. We really appreciate it, because it has been kind of a rough month. What can I say? But if you guys can afford a super chat, please do so. Oh yes, Mark is having some issues, and I apologize, Mark. I feel so bad for you. But yeah.
Good luck.
Anyway. Oh, you're back. Oh,
yes.
Nice. Yay.
So let's chat then, pen pals. What is your overall general review of this episode?
Better than I remember, that's for sure. Kind of a fun episode as far as they're doing exploratory Starfleet stuff. They're exploring a new system. They get some weird things happening on these planets. These planets are
But
basically...
Stuart, why is everything we don't understand called a thing?
Because that's just the way it works. Look up the definition of thing in the dictionary. Um, so actually, and this ties in with a script and a video we filmed a little while ago, which hasn't been released yet, talking about dilithium, because it talks about what is happening with the planets specifically and the crystalline dilithium structure. So there's some cool stuff in here. Data breaks the prime directive and responds to a radio signal, which is not ideal, and Picard gets quite pissed, especially
not
at the end.
ideal. Well said.
Well, that's a good way to put it, right? The end is actually pretty great when he comes back aboard the ship. So this is actually a pretty good episode. Not the best by any means, very middle of the road, but definitely had a fun vibe to it, and better than I remember for sure. I went into this with very low expectations, but yeah, I rather thought it was all right. It was better than anticipated. So I thought it was great. I thought it was great. That's a little too much. I thought it was good. There you go.
Expectations, we learn, are a thing, you know. I think with Star Wars Episode 9, expectations are so low right now that it's going to be better for everyone because they're so low. I remember this being relatively okay, but I hadn't watched it in, you know, a lot of years. But the chat was dismissive of this episode, so I went in being, oh, well, okay. And I was a mixed bag here. I thought, for the most part, it was dull and a sharpened script. It was kind of, well, a dull script. It wasn't refined enough. It wasn't crisp enough. But when they got into some meaty scenes, the meaty scenes were excellent. It was just filled with a lot of saggy scenes around it. And I completely forgot Wesley's side plot. Yeah. And I was honestly... couldn't give two shits. I thought it was pretty poorly done, and a missed opportunity in almost every way, except the fact that it solved the problem, but that could have been anything for anywhere. It added very little extra. So I was kind of like, when it was good in those few moments, it was like, that was a really good moment. But really, I thought it cruised along at warp 3, because it didn't feel like it really wanted to try that hard, even though it theoretically did want to try hard. So I was kind of like, this is like a skip one for me, I feel like.
Yeah, it's definitely not a super on the list of rewatchability episodes. But I actually kind of liked the Wesley side plot and the way it was kind of dealt with. And I had completely forgotten about it as well. But I didn't think it was that bad, actually. I thought Wes did a good job in this one. It wasn't as fleshed out as it could be, that part, because there really wasn't a whole lot of conflict. But you know, it was a B plot. So
and you know how positive I am with these things normally. So the fact that I'm being negative implies, you know, that I actually thought it was not as good. Because I tend to be quite, but you know, like I said, there's not enough negativity in his subplot. That's why I sound focused. Like things are going on, but they keep coming between things, and other things get. Even though it's theoretically a very focused episode, it feels very unfocused to me while watching it. You know, I think they needed 2, 3, 4 more drafts to really streamline it down. You know, as in take out stuff you didn't need and then replace it with better stuff. I mean, streamline, you've got the same amount of minutes to fill.
But I don't think that's why I said it was kind of middle of the road. I don't think it's definitely not the greatest. But
it's not bad.
It's not the worst either. It's kind of that mid-grade area.
It's very season 1.
Yes.
Idea, not the best execution. It's just also the actors don't bring a lot to it either, except in a few moments. Whereas some weeks, it's like the story's not great, but you get some character moments. Although there's a few very good lines, as there can't not be. I'll quote one now, and remember who said it, and this is genuine in the episode. Oops.
Yeah, it was Picard. That was great. I didn't realize that either. When I heard that, I'm like, that's great. That makes him totally relatable. I know. And not just the stoic captain that I loved it. I thought that was great. And I have that in my notes because I love that part.
This episode defied a few character, like, he didn't handle it how he thought he was going to handle it. I'll give them props for not doing what you thought they were going to do with him. Same with Data. I don't think the way out for the characters is what you expect. But oops. I think you ever say oops in Star Trek, you know? So I give him credit for that, and he did a good job. Yeah.
That was good.
So there's a few nice little teeny moments.
Absolutely. Well, let's get into it then.
Yes, sir.
Before we do that, we got a PayPal.
Oh.
So, Randy McClellan sent. Oh, never mind. Judge 1981 said this episode wasn't bad, not good either. Yeah, that's kind of what I said. Middle of the road. Had its moments, but it also could have been better. So
I think because it has some really strong potential themes, that when it drops the ball into average, it shows the contrast between the really good moments and the average moments stronger. Like, you know what I mean? If there's like one amazing scene or one amazing actor that's a 10 and the other scenes are a 5, you see the gap because you feel the gap. If everything's at a standard 6, you're like, okay, the whole thing was average. But when you have a contrast, you feel the contrast more.
And as you British know, mind the gap.
What a reference to pull out your ass there. Brilliant.
Right? That's what I do, man.
Yeah. But yeah, super chat if you guys have a comment, question, thought. Coming up to Christmas, so any help you can would be super duper. Even $1. $1. Yeah.
That's right. So let's get into it. So they're exploring this region of space. They're the first ship to actually go in and explore this region. But all the planets in the system, and they all have geological instabilities. So they're investigating that because the planets basically tear themselves apart. So they don't know why. So that's why they're there. And I thought that was kind of neat, exploring a new region and different things going on system wide was kind of neat. Eugene, though, throws in 1,000 rubles. What a weird episode. Half the crew are prime directive extremists, and Data is suddenly a dum-dum.
I like that.
The prime directive conversation I thought was well done. Very humanistic. I don't know. We'll talk about that when we get there, obviously, but
this, they've failed to deliver the prime directive in other episodes. I look forward to see
the first one that makes it a thing, I think.
What they want to flesh out rather than just a sense of the word, prime directive, we can't interfere with that. And they ask in the right room, what's that? Oh, we haven't worked out yet. This one they certainly have more of an idea, but it's yeah. Now I have a question though, because it's odd. This entire mission takes just over 8 weeks. That's the time they spend appearing to presumably run about fixing it at the end.
I would say 9 weeks because there's a buffer at the beginning where they start before he receives the transmissions. But yeah,
sure. And they're looking at the entire system, so they're relatively staying still in galactic terms for a long time. And they keep saying that all these planets ripped apart, volcanoes damaged, and they get to her planet, same thing. And they say what the problem is causing that. So is the deduction here that every planet in the star system had the exact same ultra high concentration of dilithium, but all the other ones blew up first?
Yes, and not necessarily just one system. It's an area of space with multiple systems that have planets within the systems that are having the same issues. So it's not one star system necessarily.
Is that a huge coincidence then?
It's probably just the amount of stellar matter that was used to form the planets in that region would be my guess. We talk about it a little bit in our dilithium episode, which we have coming up at some point. This is why there's certain areas of space that have just these asteroid fields riddled with dilithium, because it's just concentrated more in that area.
Because it feels like that's quite an important area then. If you can have an aerospace where, yes, it's catastrophically destroyably planety. Oh no, but I now I'm remembering. Didn't we say that dilithium has to have a sweet spot to be stable and mineable? Because too much will blow up the planet, and therefore most dilithium planets blow themselves up because they're too...
That's right. There are very few planets that have stable dilithium.
See, I was paying attention when I read the script that you wrote.
Yes, that's what I mean. Most of the dilithium mining, even in games like Armada, is from moons, asteroids, asteroid belts. These are planetary bodies that have basically destroyed themselves because of the crystalline structure, and that's why you mine the asteroids for the... Anyway, that's a dilithium crystal episode. That's something separate.
I was just... because it did seem kind of strange, this much connective tissue. It kind of felt, when I was watching this time around, as if they're implying there was some reason. Like there's that many therefore cause and effect. But if it's just natural, they could have made a better job saying this area is incredibly heightened in its causing. Would have been nice to have one line, but it's okay.
They might have. I might have glazed over it though, because there's a lot of babbly science talk in one part that I just kind of ignored. So anyway,
yeah.
But Cuban Writer though, through $10. Thank you very much. That's awesome.
Very helpful.
This is one of many episodes that try to explain the Prime Directive, which was not always handled consistently. But I appreciated its development of the concept and like when the episodes try to do so. Yes, and I think the way they dealt with the Prime Directive, the conversation they had, I loved it. It was very relatable, and yeah.
Well, one of the highlight scenes I mentioned earlier, where they obviously just like, this scene is going to be one of the scenes that we're remembered for. Let's do it right. And then some others are like, I'll just throw some stuff together.
Yeah. Now,
yes.
So we're going down to the holodeck, and there's one screen cap I got where it looks like Data's stunt double in the back there. I don't know. Looks like the guy they used for Data's stunt double or stand-in, because he's got the same exact hairstyle. But anyway, so Counselor Troy and Picard are heading down to the holodeck, and he's going to be doing some horse riding. So they have a great conversation, actually. He's talking about how great horses are, and why horses. She goes, well, I didn't expect you to be a pet person. He goes, well, small animals no, but horses are different. And then the computer asks him what kind of mount, and it goes through an Andorian, whatever, a Klingon. And I wanted to see these. I want to see a Klingon mount that a Klingon would ride into battle. That'd be awesome.
Stabs me in the butt. Pain makes the ride even better.
Yeah. But he chooses an Arabian stallion, and loves how he says to the computer as well, English tact, and I will control the animal myself, which means anybody that doesn't have any horse riding skill can ride a horse in the holodeck. Just the computer would control it, obviously.
Puts a joystick to his left, right. Computer instruction style.
Manual steering column.
Yes. Vent the drive plasma horse. Okay, now fire the aft torpedo.
Yeah, but no, I thought that was
instruction
to say that. I'll be in control of the horse. So, and then he says, as far as animals go, well, she says, it seems like you want more of a companion, not a pet so much. And then they talk about a Beta Z kitten, which didn't agree with her mother. Well, they reacted poorly to each other. So there's a story there. Her mother's probably allergic or hated the cat for some reason. Anyway, yeah. And then he gets interrupted, of course, just as he's about to get on the horse. Riker's like, Captain, I think you should come to the bridge. Well, I think you should probably see this. Fine.
Yeah, this scene felt... I think it's meant to feel very out of place. And I made a note of they're actually outside.
Yeah.
They're not on a set. They're not on a fake quarry, like genuine outside. Now, having seen them a little bit with the naked planet, almost naked planet. But it felt kind of odd, but I still love the transition, although I think the transition holodeck door, boy, that feels like green screen. Just the way it's done, it feels so good. But it's not, but it feels it, because it looks so strange. But again, brilliant, they brought the movable set, and it just looks great. It's great for his character. I just wish it linked more to the main plot, rather than them just throwing, it's like they had a bowl of Picard traits they want to introduce, and they say, right, this week we're gonna horse riding, and it connects with save a kid on a planet. No, it doesn't. Oh well, write it in. You know what I mean? They could have had a better integration a little bit. I'm not sure how, but then you would pick a slightly different plot. But it was cool, and I think you don't often get to see these two actors just acting as the characters in without a situation, a scenario, something bad happening. I thought their chemistry is quite interesting, although Vought feels like a daughter to him, which is nice. Although I can't... It feels like she just pops around the ship a lot every day. Like, she's not really going to commit to any activity. She's like, oh yeah, I'll watch for 10 minutes and I'll leave. And I'll go talk to Bryles and hydroponics and then off to the...
Kind of her job, though, as counselor, to just kind of talk to everybody, make them feel comfortable, make sure there's no problems.
Yep.
So
it's like with the Klingon thing. Yeah, I'm not going to actually watch it. I'm just going to walk with you to the door and then leave, because that's what I do.
Yeah.
I half commit to every project.
I'm the holodeck stewardess. Please follow me to holodeck 3. While you're there, you might be able to enjoy some peanuts and some cold water, maybe even a Coke, but I'm not going in with you. I'll be here if you need me. Call me. Bye.
Yeah, but you know what I mean. Anyway, but the dialogue's great and it's nice additions. And Picard seems. I love the clarification. I don't like small animals, but big animals. Yes, because they're. Yeah. It's nice. It's good. I just wish it meant more or linked more into later things. But now if we see him riding a horse in Picard, the show, we'll know why. It'll link in.
I don't think we will though. That Picard contradicts it already because he's got a dog, which is a small animal, even though it's a larger dog, but still.
Well,
something could happen,
40 years.
They do tie this in with Generations, where he does the horse riding with Kirk, and also in the sweep of the ship, the Baryon sweep, he has to go back for his saddle because he's got a real saddle because he actually does enjoy horse riding, so he doesn't have a replicated one. Yeah. So cool little touches like that were really nice. So.
Yes. But yeah, then he gets dragged out. I was kind of hoping he'd go in his non-uniform, but I guess he had time to change.
Yeah. Shows up on the bridge, and then they're looking at an area of space. The last unmanned probe that was there showed a thriving ecosystem, and now there's nothing on this planetoid, so it's just been destroyed.
Yeah, this was a nice planet.
Yeah. And I love that. I love the. I don't know. I thought that was cool. It was a good Star Trek moment as far as I was concerned.
Yeah, I like, especially in the early seasons, the sense of every day. So we get to see the general. This is a workplace. This is genuine situations happen here. So just to go through it works well, and the pace is slow this week or this episode, but it's the thoughtful episode. So I think it works for the most part. We don't need boom boom action. We don't need all these big camera moves. If the story's good and the dialogue's good, it can it's a good story.
Yeah. The next scene, they're having a pretty relaxed, casual talk in the conference room, and Riker's kind of talking about Wesley's studies, and he says he wants to put Wesley in charge of the planetary mineral surveys, and it's a big job, whatever. I love the discussion back and forth. Like, is it too much to put him in this? And Picard's like, well, it's like a sword, you temper it, and then you can have hone it to a fine edge later. It's kind of a great discussion, like whether he's too young for this because too much weight on a young man's back or whatever. So I thought it was good. It showed his fatherly side a little bit, and again, he's not being an asshole. It's a good conversation between these characters. So
yeah, everyone does well here, even Pulaski.
Yeah, and I actually really like Pulaski in this episode as a whole. So. Maybe who was it that said I'd like her by the end of the season?
Jill.
Was it Jill or was it somebody else?
I think it was Jill and someone else, but she was keen to always tell you that you would.
Yeah. Well, there you go.
But I was intrigued with this episode until this scene because this is a very hefty set of higher ups on the crew, right? Chief Medical Officer, Chief Engineer, Captain, Second in Command, who's Judy Foster guy, and Counselor. And Picard walks in and says, "Oh, this is Riker's meeting," and he's like, "So Wesley Crusher." Everyone should be like, "You called us here to talk about Wesley. I've got 43 people in the sick bay. We're dealing with medical crisis. Yeah, I've got 2 in the engines. No, but Wesley, it's like he's just one guy." I thought it was a really stupid scene for like he's not that important. You don't need this sort of meeting for it.
The whole thing is this kind of meeting goes on all the time with different crewmen for different assignments and different episodes that we never see. So I think it was just I don't have a problem with it at all.
I think how important this cast is, and Pulaski so doesn't need to be there for that. I mean, LaForge doesn't really say much. It just seems that everyone's time is very valuable, and Wesley, even though he's a major crew member in terms of the casting, he's an acting ensign. How many other ensigns do they have other ensigns? I mean, he's not the genius he once was,
Well, I don't think that this was the whole sole purpose for this get-together in the conference room. It looks like they had another discussion, and this was at the tail end of it, because Riker's standing up, leaning on the chair, like, oh, yeah, I think we should do this, because...
Well, they start with Wesley. The Mount event might have continued the meeting after he left, maybe. It was like a 2-hour staff briefing, and I guess...
maybe, yeah.
But it felt really like he's not that important, so it just felt like a very... not fan wank, but like circle jerk of look, he's a cast member we have to use. It would have felt better if it had just been Riker sit down on the bridge, sit in his chair, lean to Picard and say, "So I have a thought," informally on the bridge, and then Data turns and says, "Oh, I think this," and like, okay, I think he's ready. Like, that informal would have been a lot better than this, I think. I get what you're saying, but for me personally, it didn't work.
Yeah.
At least the way they wrote it. Didn't like it.
Well, I love how they call Wesley in, and he looks like he's in trouble. They tell him what's going on. He's like, "Thank you, sir."
Yeah.
And Riker's like, "Well, you may not thank me after you see how much work is involved. I want you to assemble a team.
Yep.
Avengers assemble, mineralogy crew assemble, and get to work." And he says, "These officers are here to help you, not judge you. So if you have any questions, please ask."
Mm-hmm.
And then I love Picard's line here. He says, "I respect an officer that asks questions and doesn't just blindly, bound forward." So that was good. I thought it was a good character development piece for quite a few characters there. So,
well, it's a great working environment, and these are great people.
Mm-hmm.
I think he almost should have started on this moment, because you're right. This bit with Wesley is really good, the way they treat him and such. But since he can pick his own crew, does that mean he could pick LaForge to be under him? Because the vibe I got is that they're giving him carte blanche. He's now, as we said, as we were confused in a previous episode, how someone could outrank Geordi in season 1. Ensign or Lieutenant Geordi could outrank Chief Engineer, who clearly outranks him. But if the captain puts you in charge, then you outrank any rank because you're in the command position. So that means Wesley is now in the command position, can now outrank a lieutenant commander to be brought in, or is he limited to only ensigns? Because only ensigns for a survey limits the standard of officer you can get drastically. You must be able to get higher ups, otherwise you're not getting the experience you need.
Maybe he would know. There would be no reason for him to pull in Geordi, though.
But it'd be
this
fun.
would be focused on the geological experts.
It'd be fun, though.
The mineral experts.
Geordi, yeah. Well, data's useful for any situation, surely.
True. Yeah, there you go. Yeah.
I just found it funny, like, to put that much power in his hands. I thought was interesting. He's not even an ensign. He's on no academy training. It's a massive responsibility to give the guy. But I thought he did good. Like
yeah,
he's fine in this episode, but because there's not a lot of it, it feels very unfocused. Yeah. And the payoff moment isn't as strong as when Data is given command of a ship and the guy is racist, machinist against him, and then he says "F you," and that's a really strong payoff. It really hits home. This one didn't quite hit home, the end of this little side narrative.
But then we're back on the bridge, and Data is... I love how Worf's like, "Is this part of your usual work?" Like, he knows the answer. He's like, "No, scanning for things out of the usual range. It's kind of a personal project."
Yeah.
He goes through the list of everything, and Worf's like, "Oh, well, can it detect artificial transmissions and things? This might be helpful tactically." That's kind of the vibe I got. And Data's like, "Yes." She's like, "Oh, very good." And when it goes to walk away, and Data keeps talking, and he looks kind of like, "Oh." And then he trips over his equipment, and Data's like, "Yeah, don't worry, I'll clean that up." It was kind of like a kid doing a project kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
oh yeah.
So it was, again, a fun little scene.
Yeah, it was nice for these two interact, but I love the unique power dynamic with these two, because in your own environment, the who has the most power, shifts. So when Worf, the things
That's
on
his part of the bridge. The back is his. Man.
Yes, exactly. Because when Worf moved over the thing, it's like you should have looked down and seen it. Like, you're responsible for where you sit, you walk, but Data should have left it there. But there might be a reason why it's there. But Worf's like basically saying, because earlier he's like, "Sir," in previous episode, Data outranks him, but he's saying, do better. Person that outranks me, he goes off on him a little bit tone wise, as if he's a commanding officer. And Data's like, "Oh, I'm sorry," if he outranks him, but because in this context, this is his area. I like the tonal shift of when you can be in power. It's like Pulaski. Pulaski can outright tonally say, "No, Captain, no, no, no." You know what I mean? So I quite like how they played that shift. And Data's like, Brent's acting.
His reaction to it is great. Yeah, it's like, typical Data reaction.
My bad.
Yeah. Then we get Wesley finds Troy and Riker, and
now,
we're kind of like,
is he stalking him or is it accidental? Because it's so awkward how he just comes out as if he's got a cue and a spot and walks right up to them and say, "Hey guys."
I think he probably asked the computer, "Where's Lieutenant Commander Riker? He's on this deck. Oh, I'll take this turbo lift." And it was just coincidence they ran into each other.
Yeah.
But he's like, "Can I walk and talk with you?" And I love how they kind of look a little annoyed for a second, just a split second, and then like, "Oh, sure," even though we just told you a second ago that you could ask us for help. But.
Well, yeah, but they're there 6 weeks. I think we can assume it's been at least a day or two.
Yeah, well, yeah.
They're on a date and he's interrupting it, Where?
Yeah. And he's worried about personality conflicts with anybody he chooses. How will I handle that? And he gets advice that essentially sometimes you have to not only know the job, but you also have to act as ship's counselor, or as a counselor to the personal problems of the people under your command. Quick scene, but it was fine, I think.
Yeah, I hate the start, but I love Riker in it. His acting, his tone is so pitch perfect as a respectful mentor, commander, and the advice is great. I just wish it was more organically framed.
Yeah.
Because
they tried to do that. They tried to do that.
Well, yeah.
Like just a casual walk and talk, right? We got a PayPal from Jarzia though, $5.
Thank you.
I really hated the idea of dilithium breaking planets apart. The formations cause tectonic stress and could make the world uninhabitable, but to create enough energy to literally blow a planet apart with enough force to be drawn back together by gravity is just dumb. Wait till our episode on dilithium crystals, because we talk about it.
Yeah, that was a good one, I remember. Really interesting.
Yeah.
I think it all makes sense for the most part.
Yeah. And Jeff Jacobs puts in $2. We got our first 50. Nice. See you again at 90. Hashtag make Jeff pay. So 73 of you here. Everybody make sure you hit that like button, guys.
Oh, mine says 83, Stuart.
Well, yours is wrong because I'm the captain and I get the latest information and intel from my first officer. So you're right.
Nice. Okay. But I want to see at least 60 likes by the time you see this. So we've got 54 now. I want to see 60 likes. It does not take any extra effort. You have to be logged into YouTube. You don't have a YouTube account. Every single person can click like and it counts. So click like. I want to see that number jump up. Please do. And last thing on this walk and talk. I like how they don't often do / they haven't built all the sets yet. They walk through unique set pieces. Like, we're used to the one corridor, but they go through 3 different zones, and they all have different structural feeling. Like, it feels like a different part of the ship. I appreciate the weird feel of the corridors. It does feel like this is like they walk a lot through these corridors, and
And Dan23 says paintings in the corridor. Well, at certain junctions, yes. We see them a few times through the series, but those paintings, even the ones in Picard's quarters and other quarters that we see, are all done by, well, mainly all done by Rick Sternbach. Those space scenes. So there's an interesting fact you might not have known. They were painted by Rick.
Man.
Yeah.
And that space station painting in Picard's quarters is just so gorgeous.
Yeah.
60 likes. Thank you, guys. 65. Honestly, 65. Muha.
Muha. But down in the science lab, the geological lab, we see a nice Elcar's display of the different layers, which I thought was cool. I had to get a screenshot of that. I had to go back a second to get it. And this guy's vaporizing rocks for some reason.
What a great effect, though.
Yeah. Navies. And Wesley comes in and asks him to be part of the team, and he's like, all right, cool. And if you need any help, just let me know. And then he says, I wish you would have come to me first because you assigned so-and-so and so-and-so, but they're married. So personally, I like to break up married couples. But then he says, yeah, if you need any help, come ask me. I don't want you getting too beat up on your first command. And it didn't come across as I'm higher ranked than you because I'm an actual ensign. You're just an acting ensign. It came across as a very friendly vibe, which I appreciated. It wasn't some douchebag trying to exert his authority over somebody else.
The thing is, his face looks a bit douchebaggy.
A little bit until he starts to talk.
Like a little bit. Like, he's not like a very warm, friendly face. No offense to the man, I do apologize. I think, the tone here, it could have gone any which way. You get the sense that he's a professional, and therefore he wants the job to be done properly. So he's probably thinking, the sense I got, oh yeah, I've heard of this guy. I'll give him his fair shake, but obviously, if he's not doing well, I can step in. That's all good, and I can get good credit for it. So he's kind of like that. I mean, we'll see. Although I was a bit not annoyed, but as soon as I saw the red railings, I was like, oh, we've reused the battle bridge, the courtroom, and it doesn't look great. It's one of the lesser sets because it's not a set; it's a room with some stuff thrown on stuff. I didn't think it worked particularly well.
That being said, I was going to compliment it because I love seeing different science labs and stuff on the ship. We see this one a few times during the course of the series, like as a lab.
Okay.
And I kind of like the smaller feel of the room compared to how big most of the rooms in this show are. So I like that. There's different parts of the ship. There's different.
I guess I'm kind of spoiled because I love the Voyager science lab with that table, that like 360 control interface. Yeah. Well, I think it's like we're both like the little end of a corridor room that I built. Small rooms can work sometimes. You know, I mean, you don't need a massive room for one certain type of study necessarily. I mean, how many people you really genuinely need in that one thing? One discipline.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Did you think though that the wife and husband was going to play a part? Because normally you set things up to pay them off.
I did, and I thought they did. I thought there was more. Like I thought they had a little bit of a, marital spat at one point during the thing,
or any dialogue talking to each other at all.
Yeah, I seem to remember that, but that must be another episode where that kind of thing happens in the same science lab, because I remember a scene like that.
Yeah.
So I was waiting for that. Yeah, absolutely. But
yeah.
Anyway,
weird.
Hellrats 96 throws in $10. You're saving our bacon with these good super chats, guys. You guys are awesome.
I mean, if we can get 3 more 10s, then it'll be an okay super chat. So, thank you so much.
Yeah. The running gag of Picard getting more and more pissed at Data this episode is great. Also, the back and forth between Riker and Picard with the increasing depth of shiz they're finding themselves. Yeah. Here. Yeah.
Like I said, there's some really good moments.
Yes.
Really good. Although Thribis says Picard doesn't come off very good in this episode.
I disagree.
It
comes off very well. And the way I can prove that is oops.
He comes across as very human. Well, we said that earlier, but I think he does come across as very human.
I think he could have come across as much more of an asshole. I seem to remember him being more of an asshole when I look back at this episode, but he's very level most of it until the very end, when it's like, I'm not even gonna look at him. There's a kid on my ship, on my bridge.
But we'll get there when we get there, because that was obviously a massive thing.
Yeah. But yeah, I thought he was very good in this episode, and I didn't think he was overly asshole-ish or pissy. I think he dealt with it pretty good, considering. Next scene, we got Data, though, and he has been doing his experiments, and he's registering some low-level RF waves, which the computer can't read because he says to tie in the universal translator. So they have to enhance and boost it, and gets a message, which we hear about again later. And he responds.
Mm-hmm. And he doesn't hesitate.
No.
I found that interesting that I mean, there's obviously limitations, whatever, and we'll get there in a bit. Although I thought this one moment when he can't, there's something, and he keeps telling the computer just to try something to get through. But it's just like, enhance and more power and enhance and this.
I think the computer would do that automatically.
Yeah, it's
given an order. Yeah.
7 steps without, like, sometimes you can justify, he tinkered the control panel to make it do things it's not meant to do, but it could do all these things just by being asked. Felt a little bit like the Blade Runner scene where you can then in zoom and enhance completely stupidly, that is just like, this is a dumb moment, Mm-hmm. But it's a very small moment. It's just weird they'd include it.
Yeah.
It's like I remember it. Sorry, I remember it as being, he just picks up on it, fully intact, starts. He's like, oh my goodness, out of nowhere, this is unusual. That's what I remember. But
it tied in with what Worf was saying earlier. Can you detect artificial signals?
That's why I said it. Yeah.
Yeah, but it'd be very weak. It'd be hard to distinguish it from the background noise of the galaxy.
Which I like. That's a good concept.
Yeah. But yeah. Anyway, so. This is where Wes is nervous about meeting his team. This is actually a great Pulaski moment. She comes up and so, is there a problem behind that door? Because and he just says he's nervous about meeting his team, and she's like, you know what? I think you'll do fine. So it was a great scene. It was a great Pulaski scene. I gotta say, she was very friendly, very likable in this scene. So Pulaski Captain Foley's seal of approval on the scene.
Because she comes off as a professional. She's not got the best bedside manner, but that is a side effect sometimes of when you deal with things, whatever. But she's treating him a bit like a mum here. And I feel like that is residual from when she saw old boyfriend Riker dealing with Riker like a son. I think that's kind of migrated with Mulder's performance. Or Mulder, whatever her name is. It's good. It's measured. And this felt like a random run-in better.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely, yeah.
And I like it. Again, I like the idea of the Wesley stuff. I just wish it could have been the entire episode. If this was Lower Decks and the entire episode was him and a team, obviously give them a more unique problem, make it a really strong focus, but give them the entire episode and then cut back to him, having to walk onto the bridge to talk to Data, and in the side, Picard's dealing with Ferengi on the view screen, and there's a situation, and this big situation that means nothing to him because the ship might be under attack, but he's dealing with a little thing because he can't do anything about it. You know what I mean? That could have been an entire episode. Kind of wish it had been. Doesn't get. I agree. Yeah, but yeah, she's good.
Like I thought this side plot was actually one of the best parts of the episode. Honestly, the way Wesley dealt with everything, and the indecision, and then the advice, and just the way it pays off. I think it's actually really intricately woven into the main storyline as well.
It's just when you put them together, it weakens them both.
Oh, okay.
Like
I can see your point of view on that.
Two separate good things, but because neither are allowed to truly flesh out, it weakens both. And also one last thing, I like how Pulaski says to him, "It's okay, Wesley. I think he'll do totally fine. Not good, not great. Like or actually adequate." I love her lack of praise.
She says terribly fine. That's a quote.
Well, as in you'll do absolutely fine. But the wording was like, you'll do adequate. You'll do just good enough to be good, and that's good enough. And I liked it. She wasn't like, "You'll do great, Wesley." It's like, "You'll do fine." Because you're brand new at this. Don't expect any more than that. Just do an okay job, Wesley. Subtle thing, but it's good. I like that's a character line.
Yeah. So then he gets the reports from the guys, and he's like, "Well, I think we should do this certain kind of test. I have it written down for later when they bring it back up." But and the guy's like, "Well, it's going to take 5 hours of setup time. Sometimes there's a difference between being thorough and just wasting time." And I love Wesley's indecisiveness. Like, this guy's an ensign. This guy's working for Starfleet for a little while in this job, at least. So I kind of deferring to him because Wesley's not a mineralogist specialist or whatever.
Well, he's not qualified for this. I mean, there is a team leader, not as actually a specialist. That's why you have the team.
Yeah. But I love how he basically says, "I just don't want to do a half-assed job." And the guy's like, "Well, sometimes there's a difference between, being thorough and wasting time." And Wesley's like, "Yeah, I guess you're right." And, I've been in situations like that too, where I think I have the right answer and I go up to somebody in a work environment and say it, and they've got more experience than me, or they got hired off the street in a higher position than me, even though I should have been promoted. And I'm like, "Well, you're an idiot. But okay, fine. And then you kind of doubt yourself, and it's like, So I can relate to this, and that's what I like about it. So.
Yeah, I thought tonally it was another interesting moment because no one has played. This is very Gene Roddenberry. No one has played the villain here. It's just very like, hey, we're all just here to do the job, and if it takes 5 hours and we learn nothing, that's why I kind of wish that we hadn't had it took 8 weeks here, because it makes it they've got nowhere else to be. They have a full day's worth of time, and tomorrow. So 5 hours isn't that much. I mean, I do edits to take 5 hours. I do 3 renders to take 5 hours. It burns through very quickly if you're working, I wish it said like an extra day or two. That would have been kind of more interesting. But it's true though. I mean, sometimes you need to know when to stop, when to not do too much. In editing,
exactly.
Especially in VFX. Exactly. I mean, you can go too far. I have to do it all the time. It's like, it's just not worth the extra like 1 final % of effort on a thing that no one's going to see. You need to know where that line is. And so this scan, he's sure it's an echo, but Wesley wasn't even doing it as a gut reaction. Like, he was just running it as a procedural, like,
just to make sure he got everything covered. Yeah,
but it wasn't like he had a gut reaction or something. There had any evidence. It was more just he wanted to be thorough. So it was interesting.
Well, it's good though. It's good though, because later when he talks to Riker, and Riker says, "You think you're right," and he's had time to think about it, mulling over, and he's like, "Yeah, I think I'm right. We should do that." Yeah. And this scene's great too because the lady here, she kind of agrees with the other guy, but at the same time, the look she gives him, like, it's just a suggestion.
Yeah.
And then she's not like forcing it on him.
Nope.
So it will. Yeah. Nobody was played the villain. Absolutely. It was just a conversation that was being had with professionals.
Well, yeah. And they said at the end of the day, the looks were, but it's up to you.
Yeah.
I mean, I kind of wish they picked older actors, like distinctly older, to make that divide, because they imply it's gonna be a thing. I mean, obviously she's in her late 30s, 40s. He feels like he's in his late 20s, early 30s. And obviously Wesley's under 18. But it doesn't really play. It would have been nice to have had like a white-haired dude, like white-haired black guy who's like his 60s and he's still like a lieutenant. And you
see that all the time. You see scientists that are older that just have like, lieutenant rank or yeah.
He should have said
about that a lot. Them joining Starfleet later in life or just not being ambitious. So
he should have said Wesley. Well, Wesley, back in my day, those scans took twice as long. So it's up to you. Back when Kirk was in the academy, I was. Well, back when I knew your father, it was in diapers. It's like, shut up, old man. No, but the balance of these scenes, they could, should, and would have come across worse. And I think if this was Discovery or a hard-hitting show, the conflict is here so drastically, but they took a really like professional approach. And that is one thing that I love about what Reich's in the last scene. So like, yes, personalities might clash, but they are here because A, they're professionals, they're training, and then picked because they're good at what they do. Put all together, that's why they're here. If they can't put their personal feelings above it, they shouldn't be here.
That's one of the problems with them being professionals and being specialists and being picked to do this job. They need focus because they all have their own ideas. That's why you need a team lead to focus them in the right direction, because otherwise they're all going to go off on their own little. That's exactly why the team is important. And I think that conversation definitely points that out.
Yeah, I like that. It's a good perspective.
Yeah. So next scene, Data asks for all volcanic and tectonic data on Drama 4, and then gets shocked by the result and says, "Computer, locate Captain Picard." And of course, Captain Picard is in holodeck number 3 because that seems to be the only holodeck they ever go to.
Well, it's probably the one closest to like the turbolift they all like to use.
It's probably the command staff holodeck.
Yeah. the one that has a higher end of automatic bodily fluid removal controls. That's got the ultra setting.
Oh, it doesn't have the time delay. There's like a 3-second time delay on most normal holodecks. So it's like a video game. You hit the button and you get hesitation from the jump.
I thought Brent's acting here was a little bit on the nose. I think Brent has a little bit of a mixed bag here. He goes a little bit too far, I think, because especially as he's not meant to have emotions, but he clearly has emotions in this episode. You know?
Yeah.
Like there's scenes where he absolutely is feeling things. He's showing feeling things. There's no, but it works as a character piece, just not so much as a data piece.
Yeah.
But it's obviously tricky.
Yeah. Well, on the holodeck, we see Picard riding a horse. It's clearly not Picard at all.
Oh, yeah. There's way too much hair.
Oh, yeah. And it's curly hair. But whatever. It's in the distance. It's fine.
I love that. I didn't notice that.
Maybe he chose a holographic look.
Yes.
He wanted to be himself.
So part of it, while he's there, he's having fancy. Computer, give me more hair. Yes, Captain. Just.
It's like GTA when you go to the barber. Yeah. And you can select the different hairstyles. Big afro.
One thing I thought, and this still in particular Data, I thought, so this is how Data's meant to look outside in a vineyard.
Yes. I thought the same thing. Look at that natural lighting. It looks good.
And the hairline is clearly different than the other one. I mean, obviously he's 35 years older, but that's a very good comparison, and it shows you how wrong the other one looked. That they need to fix a few things in post with his hairline and such, some deliberate mistakes that are strange. But it's great to see him in real light. I like his appreciation of the horse.
Yes.
It was nice, actually.
I think that was. It seems like pandering, though. Do you ever go up to somebody and you don't give a flying fuck what they're doing? You just don't care, and you're like, oh, that looks really cool. You're so disingenuous just so that they think that you're friendly. And that's what kind of came off as to me. But it's like, hey, I got some bad news to tell you. Hey, nice horse. Maybe that'll break the ice a little bit. I kind of got that vibe.
Or maybe saying, wow, the computer really did a perfect version of this. Oh, hello, Captain. So just he's appreciating the work of art the computer did, his friend the computer. And I like
anyway.
Picard's like, Data, what are you doing here? It's important. Yes, you wouldn't be here if unless it was. And I like the tone it's saying, because he's like, yes, it's serious. I like it.
Yeah. And this is where we get established that he says, 8 weeks ago, I received a simple forward message. Is anyone out there?
What a time skip.
Yeah. But I love Picard's reaction to it. He kind of like goes, ugh. All right, and then it's done, and there's no sense getting mad about certain things because it's in the past. We've got to deal with it now. So I like the way he handled it. But anyway, he finds out that they speak regularly. Her species is aware, or no?
Well, no, he asks.
Yeah. Is her species aware of interstellar life? No. Oops. Just love it. I had to rewind it or set it back because I needed to make sure I heard that correctly, because I thought the same thing in my head, and then I was like, wait a minute, what? Very well played. But then Data goes on to say stuff. It's fine. I've been very vague about where I'm from. Sri Lanka, whatever her name is. I forget her name. I have it written down.
Sarjenka, yeah.
Sarjenka, yeah. But yeah, I mean, it's a good. I like this. It's a good Picard moment, and as far as I'm concerned, I like the way he dealt with it.
Yeah, this is one of the better scenes that again stands out for its really like interesting, and it's so weird because obviously it's natural with green out of uniform. Everything about the scenes is different, and he's also off duty, which he isn't often. I mean, how often do we see that? Maybe a dozen times, 2 dozen times in the show, maybe.
It's like they needed to film this pickup scene, and they're like, "Shit, he's on vacation. We'll take the camera and date him." So we'll just put in a horse scene later. Go Troy there too. Film scenes for earlier.
They were like, "This scene needs more. This episode needs more color. We'll add a." Well, actually, they might have deliberately filmed this though to make the volcano death environment seem more death.
Maybe
because we see those sorts of those gravelly planets often because that's the set they can build, but it's a very weird choice. But actually that kind of connects more because you feel, again, contrast. I said this earlier about the script. You feel contrast when you're presented it, but yeah, Picard's acting is really, really interesting here. The scene, it keeps changing tone from being data to data to data. I love it. But really, Data's his son, surrogate son, but he's still a toddler in some respects. He doesn't understand some things, but also he should know better. But the fact that he didn't know better tells you something about the situation. So he knows, like, this isn't just a random thing. This is a thing that happened because Data's, what I mean? It's a very intriguing moment. And obviously it's opening up this massive can of worms that you can tell Picard doesn't like dealing with personally. The Prime Directive stuff. He likes doing things the proper way. Like, I'm sure he likes being the one to do the first contact, but boy, he hates being the one to mess up first contact. Is the impression I get specifically. Like, he's a pet peeve of his. Well,
and the way the conversation goes too, because he says, well, maybe we can reverse the process on our planet, and Picard's like, and violate the Prime Directive. Call a conference in my quarters for all senior staff. I love how it's in his quarters. I think they did that deliberately so that it wouldn't be on the record, because it's not in the conference room, it's not in the ready room, which are all bugged and recorded, probably. So in his quarters, they can talk about it more freely. Is the kind of vibe I got. But then, before Data walks away, he's like, Data is going to do that.
Hold on, you cut out.
Oh,
before he says.
What was the last thing I said?
You're literally about to start. About something that he said to Data before he left.
Oh, about all communications with her must cease.
Yes.
So the conversation was punctuated with that, like, yeah, you fucked up, but It's not gonna. It's done now. We're gonna fix it. Don't make it worse. So I like that.
But speaking of fixing things, guys, we have 101 viewers, which is great. Only 72 likes, so please click like. We want to hit 80 likes. And please do super chat. We've had some nice ones so far, but not very many. We'd have to get another 40 or so before the end of the live. We've got an hour left. Please do support. It makes a big difference. As you guys know, we kind of need them small but regular. So if we can get like 2 5s now, that'd be great. I challenged people. And the next scene though is interesting because Riker's on a date.
Oh yeah, he is.
And it's actually really rather cute. I give him credit for his performance here. It's legit cute. It's random as hell, but it's cute.
Yeah. Goes and gets drinks, sees Wesley coming in. Wesley's like, I need to talk with you, basically. And he goes up to her and says, I'll just be back in a second.
No, it's this family emergency.
Family emergency, yeah.
Which I love that.
Yeah.
It's sort of a lie, but it's sort of not. It's like a, oh, she won't ask. Yep, great, cool.
Yeah.
It's like my pet died. Okay, great, go.
This is a great conversation.
Yeah.
This is where he says, do you feel that you were right in your decision? Yes. And then he says, I suppose I could be picking nits instead of nitpicking. It's like, way to change the saying a little bit. Anyway. And then he says, I suppose I could have made it in order. But then he goes into the whole indecision thing. Why is my opinion so much better than all these other people's? And Riker fires back with responsibility and authority go hand in hand. If you don't believe in yourself, you don't deserve to sit in the command chair. And then Wes says, what if I'm wrong? Well, if you're wrong, you're wrong. It's arrogant to assume that you'll never make a mistake. And then it comes WWPD. What would Picard do? And it was a good conversation. It was very organic. It didn't seem scripted. It felt very natural.
Yep.
I've had conversations like this with my kids. It's just something. It was great. It was a perfect scene.
Frakes is such a good actor in this role. I mean, seriously. And Wesley works better in this scene because he's playing a lack of knowledge, and the actor is not the most experienced actor. You know what I mean? He does better in this scene, especially. It's a great conversation. Reich even just blurts out to him, the reason you got this is because then you can just try things, you can say things, and by doing things, good or bad, you get confidence. I like that. It's like, you're enough an adult, I can break down why you really got this assignment. Not because we think you're necessarily qualified, but want to give you a shot. There's a shot that came up, you got a shot, prove it to yourself. And Wesley's very quick to say, no, I think I was right. Very, very quick. So he is decisive, just, like I say, the idea of what makes my decision better or worse, especially as they have more experience. I mean, that's why I would have kind of liked a commander, lieutenant commander, lieutenant rank in the group, so that we'd have the distinct, experience gap. Because he could have said, but Commander Landry has been in Starfleet for 50 years. Well, I would like that more direct thing. It's okay we didn't. I just again, contrast would have been better there. But it's okay. And then Picard says, "Meet us in the crew quarters," and he says, "I'll see you later." Whispers into her ear, and she's like, "Oh, he's so cute. Oh, I'm sort of getting stood up in a sense, but you know what? He's hot. I'll take it.
Yeah,
it's fun. I like it."
Yeah. And then we get the scene where Wesley goes in and says, I want that eco spectrogram run. And the guy's like, you got it, no problem. It's like, yes, I love that. He came in, showed some decisiveness, didn't seem hesitant at all. And the guy's like, yeah, no problem. You expected him to be like, are you sure? Really? I got to do 5 hours worth of work? But no, it's like, yep. I loved it. I love that scene. It's
probably one of the shortest scenes of all of TNG in terms of like start, stop, punchline. But it no one thought it was going to go like this, did they? When you watch it the first time. It's so... And his acting is really... It's simplistic, the guy, in like, it's simple, but it's just like... I'm guessing that he also mulled it over in a sense, that he was like, doing his job, and he's like... might have been these readings aren't necessarily saying enough. We should maybe, I don't know. I feel like it was mulled over a little bit, but it's good. Simple and good. Didn't need anything more.
Sent us... Oh, yeah. Jarzia sent us another $5 PayPal, so thank you, Jarzia. Let's be honest, Riker gets all the booty on board because he does the performance reviews. Oh, you got a performance review couch instead of a casting couch.
That's a great reference. Wow.
Oh man, that's awful. That makes him seem like such an asshole then.
And Dan23 says, does anyone else's YouTube keep going black?
Mine doesn't.
Yeah, I don't think so. And both Jarzy and Fleetpaw say that don't waste 30% of your donation on super chats. Put it on the PayPal, which is, we don't always say do that because we don't take any PayPal for ourselves because that's the budget. But because we're earning so little on YouTube right now, we have to Christmas bonus ourselves. So right now, PayPal's a better source. So we'll go to us some of it at the end of the year. So if you want to, please do. But super chats are designated for, you know, rent and such.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But super chats are really good too. Yes. Yeah. Well, this is the great conversation. They're all in Picard's quarters, and it basically comes down to, should we step in? Well, we're not gods. What about fate? Well, isn't it fate that we're here? Maybe we can make the difference. Maybe that's part of the plan. And then they ask Pulaski's advice. I know there's a lot I'm just going to go through the scene and then we can talk about it.
Yeah, absolutely.
And he's like, well, what about an epidemic or a calamity? Absolutely. But what about war? It's like, oh. Or what about an oppressive government enslaving millions? Do we have the right to step in and, you know, pick a side, essentially? The Prime Directive is very much about protecting us as well. Then they talk about emotions a little bit, and Pulaski's like, well, my emotions are involved. Data's friend is going to die, and that means something. And Worf's like, to Data? I love the scene because I love that Pulaski is siding with Data. She's now accepted him as a person, I guess, which is great. And she's very good in this scene. Worf kind of comes across a bit of an asshole. He's like, we're going to get in trouble. We're going to cause problems just because his friend's going to die, whatever. And then the situation came up, well, what if they asked for help? Well, that makes it different. And then he says, Data, I want you to sever all contact with Drama 4. So Data goes, and I think he did this deliberately, tuned in the frequency, and you hear, Data, where are you? And Picard's like, oh, wait, now that I've heard her voice, your whisper from the dark has now become a plea.
Yep.
So it's a great scene, and now that everybody's heard the voice of this little girl asking for help, it's no longer just
a number on a sheet.
Yeah, it's actually more personal now, and it's like, ugh. And so they kind of decide to help. But I mean, it's a fantastic scene. There's so much big part in it as far as dialogue goes, but it's really well written and marvelously acted, in my opinion.
What are your highlights then? Because like I said, it's a very, very dense scene. So do you want to throw out some highlights, and I can throw out some highlights, and we can.
Geordi's passion. He gets up and he's like, you know, kind of says, well, what if we're here to help them? So not helping them is, you know, not out of the question, because we're here. We have the ability to help them at a time when they need help. We're here. Maybe that's part of the plan. That's part of fate. It's a whole back and forth whether fate is important or, you know. And then he gets up and has a snack. Actually, he gets a drink, but love how there's like food out. Like it's like, hey, come on over. Well, very casual setting too.
I was about to say it's a very unusual scene.
Yeah.
We don't even see Picard's Wars often anyway, and see all of them here. It feels very, very tangibly different.
That's why I thought it was something that's supposed to be off the record, so it's very much not official. We haven't booked the conference room. Because Starfleet's going to ask why we booked the conference room for an hour at this time, what we were talking about.
Yep. Well, the fact is, they break the Prime Directive, and that should be a court-martial offence. Like, no ifs or buts. So this is absolutely off record, and they say a few things off record, because they should all be, well, Picard should be in trouble, and maybe lose his command after this, or for this. In terms of the letter of the law sort of level, you know.
Yeah. But no, that Geordi was one of my favorite standouts. So was Pulaski. Part, but his reaction to things I thought was really good, because it's kind of showing all sides of the argument. with just these characters. I don't know. I think it was just brilliantly done. So,
yeah. From my point of view, I got uncomfortable when the scene started going on, and as we got further and further, because the right and wrong argument is so tricky here. Morally right, legally right, useful for the society, or if society's going to be destroyed, that's not useful anyway. The repercussions, all these levels to this. So I felt uncomfortable with which is a good thing. Obviously I'm invested in this universe, so dealing with this sort of issue. You would have assumed though that we've had this conversation before in other commands at the academy. This is very much a debate for the audience as well.
It's funny you mentioned that, because as they were having this conversation, I was thinking, at some point, some admirals back in the day, when they were setting up the Prime Directive or the rules, were sitting in a room having this conversation about not the specific topic or the specific situation, but this topic, and throwing back these what ifs. The Prime Directive can't be an absolute. It can't be set in stone. There's got to be wiggle room, because there's so many different situations and scenarios that come up that it can't be a one of those rules. So I thought about admirals dressed in Enterprise uniforms having this conversation when the scene was finishing
and
up.
honestly you could replace Picard with Archer verbatim. I think Archer did the same dialogue in the same way, actually. I thought it was a bit odd though to mention fate so much, because mentioning fate is fine, but they went on about it for 4 or 5 lines, going into the idea of what if we've got a purpose to be here, with them very heavily saying, what if it's God's plan we're here? Is it God's plan that we save these people? I thought that was very odd writing for them, especially because once they start saying there's fate and free will gets removed, then their actions are, they're just part of this thing, and that I thought was a very odd chain. I mean, it makes sense for a modern day argument, but not for this sort of argument, because that would demolish every decision they ever make, and then they could argue in very odd directions that aren't worth their time. But I like Geordie's, except because I was saying, think about it for a second, Geordie's like, I have, and I've made my decision. It's this easy. And obviously Pulaski's going to go with the save because she's a doctor. She should know better, because she's that instant. That probably shows that, she has a record filled with red marks, that she does what's right ethically. I think most doctors probably have that. I think she'll probably never make an admiral because of that. She'll have too many of these violations on her record, but I think that's fine. Oh, jump back 1 second to Wesley in the other room. Sorry, just reminded me. When Riker said, you might not be ready for the center seat or the command training, I thought, who says he wants to be in the command seat? Not everyone wants to be in command. Wesley hits me is more of a scientist to me than a leader. I would never assume Wesley would ever be captain of a ship, ever. Like, chief science officer, sure, but not, you know what I mean? It always seems weird when they make everyone think, well, you're going to be in command. It's like, why would you all... Most people can't be in command. That's the nature of ships. They got so many.
It's also the command training program. You need to fill certain roles or be on certain bridge crews or certain positions. You need to have the command training behind you. Not whether you're going for the captaincy or not, but...
They always mention the chair, though. That for him, I thought that didn't fit as well. But boy, I just scrolled and we got some very generous super chats, which make this live.
We did, and I've been waiting to get to.
Please do, because that's.
And before that, though, we got a PayPal, which was sent a little while ago, which just came in, and I've been waiting for. So Fleetpod Swiftback throws in $5.
Oh, thank you.
And says, not really one of my favorite episodes, but it gives a deeper look into the Prime Directive and how Starfleet officers and captains are willing to go to either bend or break it.
Yep. Good summary. Good summary.
And Zeraxis throws in $10.
Whew. Thank you.
Sorry. Before that, Eugene throws in 750 rubles. Almost missed Eugene's.
And Area 51. Yes. Make sure you get him as well. He's one above.
Oh, really? I missed that one too?
That's okay.
Yes. You've been talking a lot. Shut the hell up.
I let you know. I let you talk for a long time so I could talk for a long time. That's why I did that.
Area 51 puts in $2. Gotta head out. We'll catch you the rest later.
Enjoy.
Eugene puts in 750 rubles.
Dang.
Yes, this scene is excellent, but I do have a problem with there are no options and it's an absolute. Might as well go chop some younglings up. By the way, I've completely forgotten there was Wesley in this episode. Yes.
Yeah.
And then Zeraxis puts in $10
Cool name.
with the amount of planet level natural disasters that Starfleet seems to encounter. You'd think they'd have written in some exception clauses to the Prime Directive by now. Oh, I'm sure there's a bunch of, Section 1, Section 2, Section 3. There's a whole bunch of them probably. Kirk did this time without asking permission, but we approved it because whatever. UE8472 puts in $10. I love that Picard mentions the Prime Directive is to protect us as well. Uplifting species, intervening in war or conflicts, the consequences can backfire. Absolutely. Yeah. That's why I wanted to mention that part as well specifically. So, yeah.
But it's an interesting debate. Picard has to be the one that represents the law. That so
I am. Oh.
Well, exactly. I like Worf's. It speaks to his personality well, but he's just like, it's an absolute, because in the Klingon way, it'd be like, no. Does it violate the orders? No, follow the orders. You know what I mean? There's very clinically one or the other. And Picard has to be. But I like when Data basically says, in the middle, just stands up and is like, so I take it we're going to let her die? And he's like, takes a little sip and is like, I mean... like, he can't say the words. And then you get the whole Pulaski argument with the about the disease and because it doesn't... It would be odd if they are ones that can just go around the universe curing every planet, because you don't know what the repercussions that might have. What if a natural disaster actually is part of a cycle of the planet and it kills off all life to create all new life, and that's part of its cycle, and if without that it kills more life. Like, if they've just got a planet for one day and say, oh, look at this disease, even though it's part of the evolutionary cycle, or like distinctly, there's more to every situation than they can possibly learn in the amount of time to decide the solution. But when they mention disease and terrorist regimes and stuff, I thought, well, in season 1, they did interfere with the planet's disease. They did interfere with the planet and its war. Yes, they were asked to with one and sort of the other. But it's like, so all they have to be is know... the only distinction is they have to know you exist, and then you can interfere with everybody if you're asked. That's the line. As soon as you're asked, you can do any interfering on any level. It's like, well, why is that any better if they ask you than if they don't know you exist? It's like, it's not, you know what I mean? Just because you're asked to help fighting a war, why does it give Federation's one random organisation the right, even if they're asked? You know what I mean? It's like they did that in season 1. Why is that suddenly a... Yeah. And then, like you say, Data absolutely is a out-of-character cheeky boy and puts the thing on. And I thought, why is he doing it from his own quarters? Like, what does Picard's quarters have access to? Like, the communication grid. Why? And then, yeah. I like Picard's, well, shit. I might get court-martialed for this. I'm actively going to break the rules. Cause it's so underdone. It's not presented like, I am actively going against the law now, this is going to cause trouble. It's more just like a, well, damn, I can't not help. But he's doing the wrong thing. They kind of brushed that under the rug a little bit. I wish that Worf had been like, sir, you realise this could mean court-martial for all of us. I know, Mr. Worf, but let's try first and see what happens later. Yeah?
It's not the wrong thing, it's the right thing, morally. It's the wrong thing according to their rules.
I know, but he's making a choice to live with consequences. He's making that choice. I wish they'd said, you're making the choice, sir. It's like Insurrection. It's like, he's making the choice, and they make a scene of it.
They don't have to add that, though. They don't have to say, you're making this choice, sir.
Well, Worf. It's been for Worf. Because he already...
Oh. He knows that Picard is... an honorable man and will do what's right.
It just turns the conversation from this morally grey into, no, well, he is right. Because the Prime Directive is wrong. Like, once they pick the direction and not go against it even slightly, even though Picard's a bit pissed off at the end, there's no repercussions. It tells us, no, of course, go save everybody of every planet. But it is there for a reason. I sound like an evil dick, I guess, but it's like, it's there for a reason, otherwise it wouldn't be there for a reason. And I wish they'd made slightly more of a thing. Like if you'd said, computer, put in the log that I'm actively disobeying an order or something, Because they wouldn't meet in a secret place if this happened all the time, you know? It just loses all that specialty.
Disagree.
Fair enough.
Anyway, so next thing they find the reason for the instability, and it was because of Wesley's insistence on the scan. So yay, they actually mentioned that. So good, because if he wouldn't have done it and it would have been overlooked, and then later it would have come out, he would have been like, yeah. Anyway, I like it. But largest collection of dilithium ore ever recorded, and it's laid out in a strange pattern. They're growing to form perfectly aligned lattices, and the dilithium is essentially tearing the planet apart because it converts the heat from the planet into like a reaction. Then they ask, can we reverse the process? Well, we think so. Well, you're either doing it or you can't. Yes or no. I love that. So that's the brief summary of that scene. And it's all the scientists that were involved too are there. So
yeah, I wish we'd had this would be the squabble with the wedding people, but you know, didn't get that, but that's okay. Although I thought it was weird at the end that Picard, like you say, says, "Don't give me a yes or a no, give me a yeah. Don't give me a maybe." It's like, but sometimes let's assume that we can't give you an answer. What do you mean, Picard? How many times do you say we'll give it our best shot? You don't say to Geordi, "Well, can you fix more pendulums? Yes or not?" You know, there's sometimes
do or do not. There is no try.
But you don't know if it can or cannot until you try. Like if they say it can, it fails, he'll be blamed for it. But it's like, yeah, but it might not work. Like what?
It's just one of those. You're taking it too seriously again.
But he doesn't normally say that. It's out of character for Picard. So there's just a weird throw in at the end, and then she ignores it and moves on. It's like it's a weird script thing. It's like a setup, and then they ignore it. So why have it in setup? It's just a dumb script thing that I'm just calling out because we can't be totally positive on TNG because otherwise that, you know, good and bad and everything. Remember? Which was an alien.
Cliche it's used all the time, and I even use it in my own life, like with the kids. Like,
for which?
There is no maybe. You're going to do it. There's just no question about it, whether you can do it or not.
I know.
You're going to do it.
But this is with space and planets and dilithium and probes, and they haven't done any of the math yet, any of the science yet. They know what's happened. They have a vague theory of how to stop it.
They've done 8 weeks of science and math.
They've only been on the planet's. They've only been in orbit for like a day or two. I doubt they only knew the problem they got to this planet, like when they saw it happening in front of them.
Then we get the nice conversation. Captain Picard and Riker. They're like, all right, well, we're doing this thing. And Riker, you know where this puts us, right? Up to our necks. I love that. Riker even mirrors it, which is great. Again, a very non-serious kind of out of character thing for Picard, like the oops. It's like, hey, I'm just a guy. You're my friend. You're also my you're number one. Nobody else will see this. You know. Like the look on his face just says it all. Like we're in it. So
yeah, this is a genius little moment. That is. I bet they read the script and like, really? Okay, this will be fun. This will be fun. But also got the sense that Picard knows I am like he feels under pressure every moment from now on. Like once they made a decision, so he's like, dude, Riker, shit. Like we're gonna be weird now because this is a weird situation. So their boundaries kind of. And I get the sense that Riker is like he probably expressed him off camera. Like I'm with you on this, sir. Like if you go down, I'm gonna go down with you. We're in this, you and me, you know, I got your back. And so very much this strong bond of ultra honest communication.
Yes. Trekyards, Jardy says Trekyards, this is such a true to life workplace conversation though. Absolutely it is.
Yep.
Brian says he's got to go, but thanks again. Thank you, Brian. Make sure you hit like before you go.
Thanks.
And Martin Devon says, how are you two enjoying doing this live? I'm enjoying quite a bit. It's a good conversation. Just the fact that we don't always agree on things and see different sides. I love it. I love the conversation. It's
we have nicely
stimulating
different perspectives. Yeah. Yeah.
Samuel stimulates me.
Yeah.
Anyway, Next scene, Data's figured out the safest place on the planet for her family, I guess, or her.
The detail levels of the planet sort of dip a little bit.
Yeah.
Because I remember from the original episode that everyone died and she was an orphan now and they keep her.
Oh God, no.
That's what seriously. That's what I because we don't see any. I remember not seeing any of other people. The volcanoes, like, I thought they all died. I thought it was much more dramatic ending. So this scene, I was expecting the payoff to be there was a safe space, or like he knows that the house is gonna get moltened over in a few hours. Like I remembered very different events from now on. So.
Mm-hmm. And Martin, you're right. The Admiral does stimulate me, but in different ways. So it's fine.
Thank God.
Again, they're having the conversation about the.
Well, they can save the planet. It'll work. And I like the simplicity. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, sorry. The explanation for that comes in a second, but. Oh, okay. Never mind. This is from the conference room scene.
Oh, okay.
We're getting deeper and deeper in.
Yep.
Tell Data that he has permission to contact his friend, and tell her to move because, there we go.
Well, this is why I love the line. It's actually quite a meta line, whereas it's a step and a payoff in the 10 forward when talks to Wesley. He says when Picard makes a decision, we don't question it. Once Picard's on his track, I love that it's explicit. He's committed, and you can really feel it. I like that they say it. Although I really wish Guinan was in this episode because this would have been a great thing for him to go down and talk, or Data talk to Guinan, and Guinan give the I've lived 6,000 years perspective. I think really an episode for her to be in, but that might have muddied it even more because we had the good conversation. To have a second one would have been very much a retread, and she probably would have been of the. Well, I don't even know which perspective she'd be on, honestly.
Yeah, she would have been good actually in the quarters with all of them, having the conversation with them.
Yeah.
But here we find out that they're reconfiguring Class 1 thin photon torpedo shells and launch into the planet. They will vibrate and use harmonic resonance to break up the lattices. So, technical term. And this conversation is funny because the whole time I'm thinking, so what happens in 2,000 years when an archaeologist is digging and finds a photon torpedo case with Class 1 probe in it from like 2,000 years ago? What happened here? I mean, you get all these mysterious things that we've discovered on Earth, or how is this made? I love it. I think that'd be great.
I mean, did you see like 2 years ago the hoax of the mobile phone that's discovered in like a tomb?
Yeah.
It was great. It was a funny pictures. I hadn't even considered that, but it's like if you don't save them, they'll be dead anyway, and the repercussions in 2,000 years. Because I will say this now, holodeck, pretty effing advanced. So they might not be that many dozens, hundreds of years away. I got the sense. That was a weird addition, but we'll get into it later. So I don't think they're going to take more than like 200 years, maybe. Obviously, I don't know how much a massive volcano destruction spree would do to your planet. But I love this technobabble solution because it is so incredibly logical. It's just science technobabble. It's everything about it is a rationale. I love it. It's simple. It's great. Beautiful. And Worf gets to fire torpedoes. Be still, my beating heart. Oh, he gets to fire.
Yes. Jeff Jacobs puts in $2.90 as promised, again at 125. # make Jeff pay. And Josiah says, pretty sure at that depth, if the casing survives the detonation, it would melt in the lava. Yeah, but I mean, there are exceptions to every rule.
Well, you're also...
I've seen pictures of like this rock that they found that they cut in half, and it looks like there's a spark plug in it, like it's perfectly cut.
That's cool.
And it's from like 1 million years ago or something. This rock, so there's no they don't know how it got in there. That's what I was thinking of, something just weird like that, just a piece of the tech from the probe. Even
well, you're also overthinking in a sense because it's just foreign composite metal fragments. Like, how do we have this? If they find just the metal, it's like this is not terrestrial.
Yeah,
that's a mystery. Well, I think you just say meteor brought it, whatever. Pure rationale.
But it's been refined. It's in a nice housing shape.
Well, I mean, if it was melted, I mean.
Oh yeah,
just
yeah.
component
Oh
pieces.
yeah. I get you.
But I love the idea that just Data just sort of as close to barging in as possible. I love Riker's subtle acting of like, oh no, I'm staying in the room. Love it.
Just 1 second.
Okay. Yeah, and boy, he walks up to Picard, and this is a conversation. This is a intense one.
Sorry, we're back.
Yeah, I was saying I love the subtlety of Riker's acting as Data walks in. It's like, oh no, I'm staying in. Yep. And this is an intense this is a very, I mean, look at the close. This is all close-ups. He walks right up to Picard. It's an intense scene, and it is uncomfortable for me to watch. You know, the moral issues, the difficulty. It's not meant to be easy. You know, I like it. It's good.
Yeah, and I love how Data walks in and Picard kind of ignores him, and Data even kind of reacts to that because he comes in and says, "I need to talk to you," and it's like, "Earl, tea Earl Grey hot," and Data's kind of like, "Oh," he waits for a second because
Picard's like, fuck. I mean, it can't be good. I mean, Data doesn't do this, and anything out of Data's normal like pattern is something to be alarmed about. Honestly, because it's so pattern based. God, yeah, this is a treat. This is a harsh scene.
Yeah.
What do they say? 'Cause I can't remember.
This is the whole permission to beam down. Well, we can't let you do that.
Yep.
But how is it any different than communicating? It's hugely different than communicating Data.
I love his line. I love his acting in that introduction.
But then the whole, so you're saying in for a penny, in for a pound kind of thing.
English proverb.
Yes.
Woo!
Yes. And it's one of something we say all the time too. But yeah, and they kind of agree that it's kind of a thing. And then just before he says, Riker, take charge of the transporter so that the only people in trouble are us. Just before he leaves, he's like, "You know where we are now? Here." Love it.
We are past the point of we're just totally covered in shit now.
And his cup is different than he usually has. He usually just has the black ring around with the handle.
Yes.
Pattern. So.
Oh yeah, it is. Yeah. Where's his fancy teacup? It's a close-up teacup. No, this is a strong. I mean, again, Brent's acting here is more emotional. Like, he's clearly feeling. Like, how do you act this without? You know what I mean? He went well past the line. It works really well, but then it is out of character. Or it says Data is growing, but he's not going to be able to do that with his motion chip. It's a whole thing, but it's fine. I'm just and I think Picard's just like, we are just screwed at this point. We're screwed. At this point, there was a line, we crossed it, we warped over it, and now we're committed. I can't go back, there's no point. You know what I mean? Which I like.
I'm preparing my defense for the court martial right now, writing it on my laptop.
Well, they'll just delete. Well, that's the thing, though. They're outside of the space. I'm sure you can delete records, and if they're not looking, I mean, they're gonna cover this up. They're not gonna report this. It's just the repercussions of the act more than But Data's face at the end actually felt you can beam down. He wasn't expecting that. He was expecting them to fight or do it without permission. He was absolutely prepared to knock O'Brien out and beam down. He was fully ready to do that, I think.
Yeah. But speaking of O'Brien, the next scene's great. They go into the transporter room. O'Brien, take a nap. You didn't see any of this. And O'Brien's like, "Oh, all right, cool. I'm just going to be over here."
Yeah. But he's so committed to his friends that he's like, I'm not going to leave the room. Like, I'm not actually being... it's so perfect. It's so, wonderful.
Well, yeah, and then Riker gets called back to the bridge, and he's like, I woke up now, but I'm still not going to say anything. It's fine. Yeah, it's a great scene.
Oh, look, I'm wide awake now. I'll handle this. Great. It's great. I love it. It's beyond pitch perfect, Yeah, beautiful.
And Zeraxis throws in $5.
Oh, thank you.
Well, we don't have a budget this week to drag O'Brien into this, so Riker, you take the controls and beam him down. No, it was more culpability, though. Like, if it gets discovered, they don't want to take O'Brien down with them for their decision.
Yeah.
Yeah. But
Riker's committed. I mean, Riker.
I love Thrib's comment. Like O'Brien cares. He's Irish. He's bored down there. Any excitement is good.
Well, I mean, sure. I doubt he knows any of the situation. I mean, he's just like if Data and Data and Reich are two of the most moral people on the ship. If they both are in this situation, you can probably trust it for a good reason. Doesn't even ask what the thing is. You know.
That raised the question in my mind during the scene, like how much does O'Brien know about the situation? Because he seems how much word of mouth gets down to the. I would think none in this situation, but
yeah. Although it's funny, it probably wasn't Star Trek, but I was watching a show recently, and one character says, "Oh, I heard you and him are dating now," something like that, and it's like this happened today, and two people knew. So what? You didn't hear from somebody. You heard from the other person.
Deleted scene.
What?
Deleted scene.
Is that? Oh, sorry,
that's what I would assume in that situation.
But it just felt so strange. It's like this just happened, and two people know, so there isn't any mystery on who told who. You know, it just.
You know how he knows? You know how Brian knows? He's Section 31. He watches everything that happens on the ship from the transporter room. Because I love those O'Brien comics with him in the transporter room.
Yeah.
I could beam you all out into space.
If I want to be captain for a day, boy, I really could be. Or it could be, Giorgio with a mirror, cloak helmet.
Oh yeah, that's exactly what it is.
So he beams down, and I always remember this set. I don't know what the hell they're going for. Honestly, it looked. I love the orange triangles.
It's supposed to be alien.
It is,
sure.
But it's clearly trying to be very basic and almost not cavemen like, but basic. And yet there's this glass thing, and they have a hollow door. It's a very odd mismatch of things. It was obviously this is the cheapest part of the episode. This is just we'll throw something together.
Mm-hmm.
You know, because it's so unimportant, even though it's thoroughly important. I don't know. It's a weird set design.
We got a PayPal from Jarzia, $5 again.
Thank you. Brilliant.
Says, I disagree. They will totally report it. Picard just knows he and his crew can get away with it. There are too many people involved, and gaps in sensor logs and missing torpedoes would raise eyebrows. Breaking rules you can escape with slap on the wrist if the outcome is good, but covering up will summon a shitstorm. That's absolutely true.
I mean, but it's the prime directive. It's like if someone's Talos 4...
It's not like it's the important one.
But, if it went to Talos 4, is it better to cover it up if it's a simple thing, or tell Starfleet and say, "Oh, but we did it for a good reason," and they kill you because it's a death order?
You know the saying. It's better to ask for forgiveness than to ask for permission.
Oh yeah, it's in my notes. That's my last line. That's because of what they do.
Yep.
Last line.
Richard. Sorry. Go ahead.
If they'd reported, there'd be some consequences. It's TNG, there isn't. But I don't think. I don't know. I just think they're so out on the edge. It's like, did Kirk really report all of his breaking the rules? I don't think he. Every culture he helped destroy and.
It's a different time period, though. They mentioned that a few times. Different. It's more like frontier.
But that's why it's interesting, because they're on the frontier now. They mentioned that at the start.
I know. Well, they're not in the frontier. They're just in an unexplored region. Doesn't mean it's necessarily the frontier. But there's also been 100 years of Kirk did this, Archer did this. We need paperwork, guys. So there's different procedures in place now. You know what I mean? So.
But I'm wondering if the consequences are so small. They saved a planet from actual disaster. They broke the rule. They should be punished, but really didn't matter except to them.
Well, I expected Picard at some point to say there's going to be I'm going to put this on your record. It's going to permanently be on your record.
Yeah. There should be some repercussion, at least to tell the audience this is a choice. It's neither right nor wrong. It's a choice. And choice have consequences. Don't ever get that. Hence why I think
Richard Kennedy. Yeah, Richard Kennedy puts in £9.99.
Oh, wow. Thank you. Dude, you're awesome.
First live I've caught in a while.
Welcome.
Question from the last episode: if you were Riker, would you accept the captaincy or stay on the Enterprise? Have some cash. I always listen to the lives after at the gym. Oh, thank you. Appreciate that, Richard.
Oh, that's really cool. Thank you.
I don't know. You have to be in the situation to really answer that question. Of course, you'd want your own ship, your own captaincy, but at the same time, all your friends are here. It's a prestigious flagship kind of position. So,
dude, it was an Excelsior class, non-refit. There you go. Question answered.
Yeah. There you go.
That's what there is distinction to what ship you get. I would have totally done the Enterprise.
Yeah.
Like if I was given like the first the USS Intrepid on a cool mission, yes. But I guarantee it was like a Miranda and a Beth or a
Yeah. So yeah. Anyway, he's scanning around, looking around. He uses the holodoor, which I thought was kind of odd.
It's really cool.
But anyway, it is.
Like I think it's really
see
cool.
See the volcanoes right outside, and it's funny. Every time the door is open, the ground shakes. As soon as the door closes, the ground stops shaking. I want to know the correlation. That's like, oh, there's an earthquake. Close the door. All right, good. We're safe now.
Well, my assumption, I didn't even say that as being a problem. My assumption was that it's part of like, it's a stability field. Like, I want to get out of this door, therefore I'm now accessing the outer world. If I want to stay in the door, it's all artificially controlled.
I'll buy that. I'll buy that for $1.
I mean, it's a really advanced bit of tech there, a hollow door, or it's an out of phase door. Like because I thought it was a window at first, and he does step into it. He steps into the space. It was a hollow door.
And she comes through it later, yeah.
Yeah, and she comes through it. Sorry, that's a better example. So I mean, they're really advanced for what they are, but I mean, different societies run different courses. They can still look minimalist and yet have advanced tech. But boy, the land is just destroyed. I mean, this is like, I mean, I would assume a lot of the population is just solidly dead at this point.
We don't know that. We don't know what the landscape's like. Maybe that, because later when he goes outside and looks and the volcano's quieted down, it's still a mountainous region. Looks like she's high up in a mountain in this house. Yeah. So maybe that's what the landscape's supposed to look like. But the flowing lava and the volcano erupting is not a typical day.
No.
You know.
But it's definitely like a Tatooine, and then people live, like they evolve to live in a planet of that such.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, not every place is green and beautiful. Yeah, and she's got quite dark skin in terms of like alien. Like I'm sure it's a hot planet. I mean, that would be kind of fun if their version of aircon is hollow stability and. But yeah, it's really funny to have it like just be right outside the door that drastically close. But I love that it would be on a hill because yeah, if that's a volcano. He's looking down at it as if it's stock footage. Must be high.
Well, yeah, I mean, you look down at the landscape and you can see that they're high.
Really high. Or they're on miniature.
Yeah.
Although one small note here. Boy, Data has got a lot of hair here. Holy shit.
Yeah.
It's like a mane of hair back there. Like, why is he... I never noticed before, but it's like a big lock of hair. Because look, neat. Yours is neat, but it's like neat and dumph. Why is he trying to hide his neck?
I don't know.
Yeah.
Anyway, she comes back and says she's kind of surprised by it. She doesn't see him at first, walks right by him. And then she goes to run away, and he's like, no, it's me, Data. And she's like, well, we moved already to safety, but I came back for my transmitter because I didn't want you to get here and just have silence like I've had. Guilt trip.
It's well played, though, as a guilt trip.
Yeah, but it's complicated, so it's fine. My family doesn't know where I am.
Yeah.
But then he says, all right, well, we're beaming up. 2 to beam up. And I love O'Brien's reaction to this. There's gonna be hell to pay.
Yeah, it's very apt.
Yeah.
Because again, it's like, he should have questioned 2, sir?
What?
But if he's asking it, it's there for a reason. You know, you trust Data, I think, in most situations.
But then he says, you're taking that with you to the bridge? It's like, wow, how insensitive, O'Brien. I bet you walk around calling people spoonheads, too, or cardies. You goddamn racist Irish bastard.
Oh, wait, well, there you go. Wow.
That thing with you.
You retconned it beautifully, Stuart. Why don't it all links together? So quick note on this. This is where mentally, when this scene was playing out with the girl, I was like, oh, this is not what I remembered at all. Because literally she runs in, she's run back from where her family is, and she does try and grab the thing. It literally is just that. Obviously she's run quite a way. Parents are out there somewhere like a mile away, I'm sure.
You would assume, yeah, it's got to be some kind of distance.
Because she's like, they're over there somewhere. you know. And I quite
Or
like
a safe bunker at the base of the same mountain. Who knows?
because
If it's underground, it might be safer.
because they stop the character growth, the race growth at this point. Like you learn nothing. You have no sense of their technology, no sense of their culture, no sense of the nothing. But I like the look of the makeup. It's like we are going to do human proportions, but change everything slightly. Raise the hairline, give more of a forehead, change the way the eyes are, change the way the skin is. Like I love it. It's everything is a bit different, and a great subtlety was that her fingers keep going up longer. Like it's not some of it's easy to notice, but it's really subtle. But you get a weird sense about her as you're meant to. But I think that's an interesting choice, but a really cool subtle choice.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the beam up, that was I think my note or where I thought, at this point, a logical computer, he's thinking, I'm just gonna ask for forgiveness. Effort, I'm doing it. Like this is I'm just doing it. I kind of hoped though that, like, if you want to get away with it, he should have beamed her up and said, Mr. O'Brien, scan the environment for people, beam me down 40 meters left, go to them. Like, he could have, I would assume, take her right back down, because, less of contamination. But I guess at this point he knows memory wipe is the only thing. I guess. Don't know.
Anyway, back on the bridge. 3 minutes to resonator launch.
Oh, I love the tension. Palpable. Love it.
Yeah. Turbo lift opens. I love this scene so much.
Oof.
Picard looks back at Riker, and Riker's like, "Ah, shit, I'm in trouble too." It's just great. Has he brought a child onto my ship and onto my bridge? He won't even look at him. He's like, it's like when in grade school where you're like, ask so and so if they like me, or I'm mad at them. So even though they're in the same room, I'm going to talk to you. You can talk to them.
Yeah,
it's great.
It's I think the angriest we've seen Picard, and I'm going to clarify anger and rage. First contact, he has rage, but it's explosive. It's short-lived. It's acting. This is him angry. It's small, it's restrained, and it is Patrick Stewart just vibing on a real experience that he's putting into performance. And it's like, I can deal with someone yelling at me. I hate it, but I can. This sort of anger is worse, And it's really strong, and it's really well acted. And I love Troy as well. She's writing the scene. She's like, oh shit! Glad I have nothing to do with this. Yeah, it's just a really interesting moment of like, Data, you've just okay, we're gonna deal with it. You little shit. But professional moves on, and yet he's trying to do it, but the kid keeps making noises, keeps reacting. So Picard's trying to say, Data, deal with her, and she keeps making noises, and he's like, God damn it, I can't ignore her. She's so loud.
Well, they say, counselor, take her down to sickbay. She's like, no, please, no.
With the long fingers.
Stay with Data. Yeah, and they say it a few times. We'll go get a treat, whatever. And he's like, I got to do my job. Picard's like, finally, just like, all right, just keep her here. Just look after her, Data. I don't know. It's really well done. Yeah. Then they launch the probes. There's 4 of them.
Yep.
And
Stuart, our first photon torpedoes of TNG.
Is it really?
First photon torpedo launch, yeah.
No, it's not. We saw them in Encounter at Farpoint.
Doing what?
They fired out the back of the Enterprise.
Oh, well, aft torpedoes. I meant from, like, of this style.
Oh, gotcha.
Like from the first, no, this were the tubers and such.
Gotcha.
Yeah, they fired the Q thing, but I mean, the classic front torpedo tube.
Yeah.
Kind of fun. Took them 2 years.
Yeah.
Shows how lack of fighting is.
Exactly. Yeah. But we see a nice. We see all the tectonic problems, and the results will be almost instantaneous. Well, we'll know in a minute, is what they say. And yeah, it starts settling the planet down. And Wesley's all happy it worked. Yay.
Oh, yeah, some points out they torpedoed Tasha Yar's planet. They killed that guy. It's true. It's true. Fine.
Oh, yeah.
First appear spread, maybe.
We didn't see it launch, though, from that episode. We just saw it from the view screen.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. There we go. Now, I completely expected this plan to fail. Again, I remember the payoff being she's now an orphan. So when Wesley's
I
like...
never remember that.
When Wesley's like, he did it! I was expecting Data to turn and be like, look back. Oh, no, sir. It's going even more instability and it's exploding. Like, I was waiting for a moment and it's just like, oh, no, it's fine. That's weird.
Well, the best way to know if it's going to work or not is look at your clock, look at your watch. And it's like, oh, we got 5 minutes left. So, yeah, this is going to work.
Yeah. Although not always... Well, in TNG, we know it's quite abrupt endings. That's not always the case, but it...
Dun,
yeah.
dun, 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 dun.
Yeah. But it should be.
Next time, yeah. Anyway, he tells Data to take her down to sickbay, and he contacts Pulaski and says, what's involved in a memory wipe? Mm-hmm. And she's like, well, as long as she's very similar to her brain, similar to ours, it should be fairly simple to be done. So yeah. Mm-hmm. And then they go down and
quick note, I love the depth of field stargazer shot.
Yes.
What a random but great choice.
I thought that was a cool directorial choice because it's against the wall. So there's no way you'd actually ever get that shot. So you'd have to pull it out, get the camera behind it.
Exactly.
Just to show, I thought that was really cool too.
And it feels clandestine because, we're seeing behind a thing. Ooh.
Yeah. Well,
and same Pulaski, it's like there's a depth of field thing. It's very, very, very subtle, but it does come across.
Yep. This is the stuff that's not being reported to Starfleet.
Well,
with the way they're shooting it, yeah.
Yeah, and it's in. I wasn't thinking memory wipe. I was quite surprised. Like, oh, there is a solution, because then you think, well, why is everyone so mad? If you can just do this, then it kind of lower the stakes a lot. Didn't you think?
No. I mean, they use this a few times. Sometimes it doesn't take. So, well, I don't know.
I just thought
you can't just bring people on board, show them around for a week, and go, by the way, fuck you, we're going to erase your memories. Bye.
You can for a day.
Well, yeah, they've had to in a few instances, but yeah, it's not like it's a get out of jail free card as far as, because it doesn't always hold depending, so you can't count on it, put it that way.
Yeah, I was surprised how without even one scan of the alien, she can determine that she can wipe the memory. That I thought was stupid.
She didn't. No. She said if she's similar, and she goes through the whole procedure of how it would work on a human, and then she gets down to sickbay and she scans her, and then it's like, okay, because she does a whole trichor scan of her body.
No, but the confidence level she kind of says to Picard, there isn't like a. There's a sense of confidence of because she's close enough to us, I'm sure she'll be fine. It seems more straightforward than, well, I don't know yet, Captain.
Plus the other thing is too, it's a kid, right? So if the kid goes back and says, "I was on a spaceship,"
I thought that.
It's like, okay, it's going to be told around family stories for like a generation or two.
Yep.
And it's just going to be like whatever, right?
I mean, how many people in our society say they're alien abductions and we still don't, as a conscious? Yeah, so, yeah. I thought that as well. I was absolutely, my friend Data. What?
Yeah.
But I wish they'd like scanned her cheekily earlier just to get, because when she injects her, I'm thinking, you've no idea what it's going to do to her body, Pulaski.
Well, assuming she has the transporter logs from Chief O'Brien at this point.
I wish they'd said that, because that would have been a really nice get out of jail free card.
Yeah.
Small thing, but
The Tucurn Worf's brother too. Yes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And then I love the melancholy of this scene. It's nice, and again, Pulaski, pitch perfect. She's like, we got to do it. She won't remember, but that's good for her. She can have her life, but you will. Well, so.
We're not there yet. You're jumping ahead.
Am I?
She comes in and she says, "What's this?" And it's a singer stone. It's a different song for every person. What's it sing for you, Data? Nothing. I am a machine. I'm going to
go past that quickly.
Yeah, and then you did a good thing, Data, which I like. Again, another good Pulaski moment. She's actually really great in the scene.
Yeah.
But is this a good thing we're doing now? Well, it's to protect her as well as us. She has to be the person she was born to be, and knowledge of us might, affect her future. And besides which, you're a machine. You'll remember everything. It's a good scene.
And E. Pathra says, well, gotta go take an exam. Great live stream as always. Good luck.
Good luck on your exam.
It's random, but awesome. Because it's like 11:54 at night, so it doesn't feel like exam time for me. Like it's the wrong time of day for that. And this stone thing I thought was a little bit odd to suddenly throw in right at the end. It's meant to be we want to add one cute thing, because surely
it's a way for Data to remind her without reminding her. She's going to wake up with this weird stone that sings. Not going to know where it came from. It's going to be a weird alien artifact. It's a family heirloom, and it's where'd I get this from? And it's kind of it's a little too sentimental almost for Data, but it's a way to remind her without actually reminding her.
Well, it's another asking for forgiveness, not permission.
Or maybe he plans on coming back at some point and saying, "You have a stone that sings, don't you? I gave you that," or something.
Just like Picard goes back to a niche on Insurrection.
Yeah.
I've got 300 days of leave coming up. It's been 6.5 years, Picard is still not here. Well, I got busy. Doing what? Doesn't matter. Beams are down. Leaves it with her. He looks, and the volcanoes are down. For some reason, I was expecting it all to be green. I don't know why I was like, oh, it's all flourishing in a day, but no. They just want to do the CGI effect again, because why not?
And then I thought it was over. I thought it'd be like executive producer Gene Roddenberry as the ship pulls out of. Yeah. But Wes gets congratulated on his job well done.
Yep.
And then it transitions nicely. Nice segue into following Data into the ready room. It says, "I came to apologize, sir. No apology necessary. You reminded us that there are obligations that go beyond duty." And then they go on to talk about memories and regrets are part of friendships. Great wrap up to the episode, actually.
Yeah, you needed this sort of scene. A little bit of a little bit of composure. No, closure. There you go. And a quick fun note: the CGI door, they're having to digitally re-add Data's shadow. That's why it's so exact. And when he starts to beam, the shadow shifts based on the effect, and it's really awkward.
Yeah. Well, the shadow didn't look good. It doesn't look realistic at all.
No, but it had to be there. But it's very much they just cloned the layer. I mean, I did it normally because you have to. I mean, considering though what it is, the door works really well. Like it's very well balanced considering. But yeah, the fact that shadow just jumps is embarrassing, and that's fine. Whatever. But I mean, so is the VFX shot after it. We know we don't like that shot with the deflector that's bad. And, but the ending's nice and it ends very simply. All things done, and at the end of the day, now you've done the breaking the law. You think, well, we saved a planet, we saved a kid, and you learned some good lessons out of humanity, people, and and I'm not going to get into too much shit because we're going to delete all records. Oh no, we had a power cut. We had to launch 4 torpedoes to deal with the power cut.
Don't ask any questions.
It'd be so easy though for the next one you use torpedoes, just use 4 more in the records. So we used 8 torpedoes, not 4. Like it's so easy to do that. It's not that difficult. But there you go. So ends Pen Pals, which was people said to us was not very good, but I think was better than people gave it credit for.
Yeah. WTX Chaser puts in $10.
Thank you.
Just getting in. We'll enjoy the rewatch. Well, hopefully you do. It was a very interesting one to discuss. There's a lot of discuss in this one. So,
and you guys did come out of the woodwork to give some strong super chats. I mean, getting a 10 of any currency makes a big difference. So,
yeah,
thanks guys, because again, it's not a very good month, and these sorts of ones, appreciate more than you guys can know.
Yeah. But my thoughts.
Yes.
Better than I remember overall. I completely forgot about the B plot with Wesley, but I thought that was actually well done. It was a little too minimal, in my opinion. It could have been expanded on. As you said, it could have been a full episode if done well, very much like Lower Decks. But interesting story. A lot of great discussions on the Prime Directive. Some good good thought-provoking stuff. Good Pulaski moments, which shocked me. And great Picard. Great Picard.
And Riker.
Yeah, and Riker. Yeah, giving advice to Wesley. Absolutely. But Picard, his escalation of anger was awesome in this episode.
Yep.
It was actually, this is a better episode than I anticipated, especially after re-talking about it, which is going to bump it up in my ranking a little bit.
Well, it's like, was it last week where? Yeah, last week you said it wasn't as good, and then we went through the moments, and so the moments are really, really good. It's just the episode itself isn't as good. So I think we've done the same thing for you this week. Not the little moments. But I wanted to one thing about Angry Picard. He's not, though, a curmudgeon. He's not a mean man. It's so balanced, his anger. You know, again, the sense of he's a mean old man in season 1 is not true. We've now watched it. He's not, and he still isn't there. This is the height he's been. It's still very restrained and sensible. You know. Yeah.
We got some super chats, which I'll read before my number.
Okay.
Mike Shapiro puts in $1.99 with no comment. Thank you.
Every bit helps.
Eugene, another 200 rubles.
Thank you.
Can't they fabricate new torpedoes? 8 out of 10, way better than I remember. Yeah, they probably could. 8 out of 10. Wow. Curtis Simpkin puts in $1. Thank you, Curtis.
Does make a difference. Thank you, Curtis.
And Fleet Pass Whitback puts in $4.99. Change my mind. It's better than I remember. 6 out of 10 exploding volcanoes for season 2. 5 out of 10 for TNG.
And Martin Devereux says, Sam, you should be rolling in it after your background stream. You would if we didn't have weeks where we earn basically nothing. So it's it balances.
Yeah, it very much balanced out after that one.
That was our third best stream in 2 years. Whereas other streams this month have been like on the lowest we've had in 2 years. So no,
it's all relative, my friend.
All relative. It's gonna help a ton. I said to you, I think I said to you that's gonna be like half of this month, which is not a good thing, but at least we got that half.
Yeah.
Is that all of them? Yeah. So give us your out of 10 while Stuart gives us his ratings, and I'll give mine, and we'll read them all out. So guys, put your out of 10 in the comment below.
Mine for season 2 is gonna be up. I was gonna give it a 4.5 or a 5. Okay. I'm actually gonna put it about 6 because after having discussed it and some of those moments, and the acting is great in this one too. So yeah, it's gonna go up to a 6 for season 2. For all of TNG though, it's still gonna give it a 4.
Okay.
Like I said, it's very middle of the road, so I've hit the 6 and the 4. So
yeah,
average that out to a 5.
Before I give mine though, is this episode better or worse than last week, the Riker's dad episode? Now
it's more enjoyable for me as a Star Trek episode than that one. Yes.
Okay. So do you think you rated it higher in those scores or lower in those scores?
I don't remember what I did.
That's what I'm saying. So. If you like someone more, do you think you scored that one less than this or more than
same?
This? Why same? If you say you enjoyed it more.
Because they're both middle of the road, even though this one's a little more enjoyable.
Different sort of enjoyables is what you're trying to say.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay. Well done. Yeah. No,
I could rank them all on my rewatchability enjoyment factor, which is a totally different scale.
Okay. No, dude, I love your consistency to that. No, you're right. Exactly the same scoring. I love you just said that this was better in different ways. The other one's better in different ways, but I mean, it still scores the same. So I'm left in the situation of do I score some better or worse than last week? Because you gave the same score without knowing. So yay for you. And I'm just not sure. I'm just not sure. But yes, you can read some scores out if you want while I have a little think.
Well, Martin Devon puts in £5. Voyager uses thousands of torps. Wow. 5 out of 10 for season 2. 3 out of 10 for TNG.
Not thousands. I mean, at least not thousands on the screen. I think there's like 380 on screen. It's not as many as you think, but it's like 4 times what they have in stock, but they make new ones, so it's fine.
Let's see. Oh, we got another super chat from Sharp 2023, €229.
Oh, thank you.
Love their conversation about the Prime Directive. Absolutely, that was great.
Yeah.
Do you want me to read some while you're thinking, or are you ready?
No, I think I think I'm gonna go close to you, but this doesn't connect with me for some. You know, you gotta go with your gut, haven't you?
Yeah.
You know, so for me, it's better than people were saying, which helped, but it's an unfocused story. It's an unfocused script that should have been incredibly focused, and it's weird when it didn't meet its own potential. And that's a shame. But like you said, it's still average. It's not bad. There's only a few awkward moments of direction, but that's, again, everything has bad moments. But some really strong little moments of direction, which are really, really strong. I'm just going to go give it a straight 5 for season 2. Like, I can't go more than average. Because it just doesn't. It's like, it's weaker than some of its parts. You know, you put it all together, doesn't work as well as an episode. Like, I was legit more bored while watching it. For the first, like, half. The scenes that I said pick up are really good, but I was kind of... All of TNG, I'm going to give it 3.5. Again, not far off you, but, you know. But then again, if you quantified, then for the prime directive scene, that's like a 9.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
So there are some moments of genius. So yeah, not far off you, but I just liked it a bit less than you. Which in comparison, Stuart, last week I gave it a 7 out of 10 for season 2 and a 5.5. So I gave it 2 points more last week. Which is really interesting that's my gut. We'll get there when we get there at the end of the season, because that's interesting to think of now that we're past both.
But some of your scores: Team MRHS, 4 out of 10 for season 2, 3 out of 10 for all in TNG, 9 out of 10 from Ozzy, and a 10 out of 10 for us.
Oh, okay. Cool, thank you.
Tangerine Star, very strong and reliable, 6 out of 10, and a 4.5 out of 10 for TNG. Curtis gives it a 9 out of 10, I assume just for season 2.
Yeah.
Brian McFarlane, 7 out of 10. Thanasis, 6 out of 10 for season 2 and for TNG. Ozzy says a 9 out of 10 for this episode, 10 for Trekyards. Oh, thank you. 6 out of 10 overall. Overall problem is runtime way too short. 5 kilocams, 5 out of 10.
Hey, it's fine, Curtis. Every single thing helps. Don't worry about it. Yeah.
Speaking of, Curtis actually sent me something in the mail today, which I did an unboxing for, which is what my Captain's Log is going to be on Friday. So go and watch it. Thank you very much, Curtis.
Fancy.
Martin Devon goes at a 5 out of 10 for season 2, 3 out of 10 for TNG. So
the thing is, this one wouldn't take much to make it like a 7 or an 8. You know, I mean, all the ingredients for those weren't mixed together in the best way.
Oh, and Jersey has sent a PayPal. I got
hasn't come in though, and yet I just checked. And we'll say goodbye when that So I was expecting to say less about this one, but you brought up some really good points, some really interesting things I didn't consider. But I mean, that's why when people say, "Oh, why are you spending longer than the episode talking about the episode?" It's like, yes,
there's 2 opinions, so that's what it's like, an hour each for each of us, essentially.
But the fact is, we could summarize it. We loved it. Tells you nothing. And you know, if I see a 2-minute review of a film, I'm not going to watch that 2-minute review, because I know all I'm going to get is a sense of spoiler how good it is. But I'm going to watch a 50-minute Plinkett review because I know that it's going to go in depth, or an hour and 50 for Phantom Menace, because I want the in depth, I want the clever analysis.
And the reason those are an hour and a half or whatever is because they're edited. These are live, so there's the breaks, there's talking to you guys in between. That adds to the runtime of this. If it was just him and I, literally we could do it in an hour probably, but since we're talking to you on Super Chat and stuff, it adds to it. And if we edit it, which we do with a lot of our episode reviews for Discovery and stuff, we can do them in 15, 18 minutes.
Which we do.
Yeah.
That's what we try and do, both to best of both worlds. Yeah. But this is a live show. It's an interactive experience. It's very free. It's very flowing. And we look at, like, you know, I used to do the images, now Studio does the images. So detailed we look at individual shots, individual frames that we can credit the artists for, both for Discovery good, Discovery bad, and TNG good and TNG bad. It's I don't know any other show system that does this. You know, other people might look in more scripted, concise detail, but if you want, like you've said so many times, Stuart, that we are like your friends on the sofa with you, watching it with you, just in, I guess, slow time, real time, slow time, but with very much that sort of conversation. But we both know a lot about Trek, and we both made a lot of notes, so we've really thought about it. You know, it's a very considered version of that, but it's still that. You know, it's very free and open.
Yeah. But Jarzia's PayPal came in $5. He gives it a 7.5 out of 10 for season 2.
Okay.
A 6 out of 10 for TNG.
Okay.
Data is the real standout here, of course. This episode, along with Homewards, shows how dangerous when the Prime Directive is elevated to the level of almost religious dogma. Letting an entire species die because something bad might happen is horrible reasoning. Whatever negatives of their interference, they can't be worse than all life on the planet being destroyed.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's why when it's this sort of drastic, it's harder to argue. When it's a man-made war, like alien-made war, or something very small and specific. But you know, that's why I would be more personally okay with. Like, this would have been fine for me if Data hadn't got involved. Like, saving a planet that's going to be destroyed. It's like, I mean, there's no reason for them to die. You know.
Mm.
It's like if an asteroid is flying towards a planet and you could just tractor it away and save the planet. It'll take you 10 minutes. Save a planet. You know. How many times you save lives in your journey? You know, that should be that's not Prime Directive. That's just, I'm going to stop dinosaur level death. And Martin Devon says, Sam, are you going to be doing a background part 2 as your sponsor a Vorlon episode ship? I might do. The good and the bad thing about the background is that I've got about 45 images rendered, which is a lot. About 10 that are stow and other things I have to get, but I've got pretty much all of them done now. That wouldn't fill the background, but also we want the background in place for 2020. So if I'm doing another background video, it's got to be between now and 2020, which is Christmas, but you also have to turn up and give money for it, so it's got to be available with funds. So, you know what I mean? It's tricky to fit another one in. That said, I've been looking through archives, and there's a ton of ships. I mean, you can still see non-Desed Curry or Negvar or Hideki or Galore. I mean, there's so many that you guys can help with, Breen and such. So it's worth doing a second one. And I'll give like a list of what we've had, because it's very long, which is brilliant. And you know, you get to sponsor it another ship. So I might do one. I guess I have to in the week between New Year and Christmas. I guess. And I'll let you guys know if I am, because I don't want this background from 2020, but I don't want a spotty background with lots of holes, because it'll look silly, but I don't want to fill up with big ships of the first 40. So, you know what I mean? Kind of a bit of a pickle there.
Yeah.
But we'll let you guys know.
Cool.
I've got a few more that'll be hard for you to get. Well, then you might not get them at all. if you pick really hard ones, then you might not get them. Yeah. And Tangerine Star says, keep what we're doing. He loves the personable content. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Yeah. And we got about 109 people overall watching at a certain point. And over 109 likes, which is brilliant. Thanks so much. And I guess we'll see you on Friday. Short Trek's out tomorrow. When are we doing the Short Treks then?
Oh, I have no idea. Is it up tomorrow? Oh my god.
Well, no, today, because it just rolled over in my time zone. So yeah, Thursday.
No, it's tomorrow. Your time doesn't count.
So I'm saying we can do it on Friday, because now it's Thursday, so it's still Wednesday for you, right?
If I'm available Friday.
I personally think there'll be not a lot to talk about, except maybe one especially.
We can probably do a live on Friday, I would think. We haven't thought about it. We need to discuss it later. We can't discuss it on here. So I don't know. Just look on the Facebook page for what's going on.
But we will likely do one soon, because it's 2-in-1, and they did just release a new teaser for the short. Do you see that new teaser?
I have not yet. No.
Do you want me to spoil the thing that might get you most excited?
Just send me the link.
Oh, okay. Well, I don't know where the link would be. But
Or just spoil. I don't give a shit. If you don't send me the link, I'm not gonna watch it.
Okay, well I'll tell you. They quickly cut to an animated refit. In the animated
Does
one.
it look like the refit?
Yep, beautiful.
Okay, good to know.
Just flies above it, and it's like, oh.
We didn't ask everybody out there if they wanted that spoiler though.
Well, it's not a spoiler if it's released in the public teaser. It's a it's a Trek show. We'll talk about maybe on Friday. It's not as if it's very long to. But I was quite surprised by that, and I was already sent 2 images by people saying, "Did you see this?" I'm like, "Yeah, yeah, I saw it."
Nobody sent me that. Nobody sent me that.
Well, I guess I love the refit more than you do, because that doesn't make any sense. Anyway, all right, guys, we'll let you know what's next. TNG. Well, Martin, go look because we're doing it in order. It's fine. Yeah. All right. Yeah. See you guys. See you guys soon. Have a good one. Bye.
Bye, guys.